How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, we're going to walk through and review yesterday's games from Tuesday, February 16th, and of course, we're going to preview everything that goes on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. With the Super Bowl being finished and the MLB season still waiting to start, the NBA did play some games last night, and just going through how all these teams fared. Starting in Boston, the Boston Celtics hosted the Denver Nuggets and were able to beat the Nuggets 112-99 after outscoring Denver by 6 in the second half, or outscoring them by 8 in the second half to build their small lead from the first half and get their 14th win of the season. For the Denver Nuggets, their elite starting point guard Jamal Murray would finish with 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals, as well as 9 turnovers in 23 minutes as he shot 9 for 16 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the line. The Nuggets' leading scorer, and the scorer of the leading scorer of the game, and for the night, for that matter, was Nuggets elite center Nikola Jokic, who would finish with 43 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes, as he shot 16 for 23 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 8 for 8 from the line. For the Boston Celtics in this matchup, their elite starting small forward, Jason Tatum, would finish with 21 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists as well in 33 minutes as he shot 6 for 18 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 8 for 8 from the line. Alongside him, the Celtics elite point guard, Kemba Walker, would finish with 17 points and 4 assists in 31 minutes as he shot 5 for 13 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. The Boston Celtics leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, who finished with 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 7 turnovers in 37 minutes as Jaylen Brown shot 11 for 20 from the field and 5 for 10 from 3. With this win, the Boston Celtics are 14-13 with the 4th best record in the Eastern Conference. Within the playoff picture, they are a game and a half behind the 3rd place Milwaukee Bucks and half a game ahead of the 5th place Indiana Pacers. Overall, within the East, the Boston Celtics are 3.5 games behind the 76ers. With this loss, the Denver Nuggets are 15-12 with the 7th best record in the Western Conference as they trail San Antonio in the West by a game. Jumping out to Memphis, the Memphis Grizzlies hosted the New Orleans Pelicans as Zion Williamson and Ja Morant faced off against one another. In this one, the Pelicans would beat the Grizzlies 144-113 after outscoring the Grizzlies by 15 in the third and 11 in the fourth to combine for a 26-point deficit in the second half. For the Memphis Grizzlies in this matchup, their leading scorer would be their elite point guard, Ja Morant, who finished with 28 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists alongside 6 turnovers in 31 minutes as Morant shot 12 for 16 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the line. For the New Orleans Pelicans, their elite starting small forward, Brandon Ingram out of Duke, go Duke, would finish with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals alongside 6 turnovers in 31 minutes as Ingram shot 8 for 13 from the field, a perfect 4 for 4 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. Off the bench for the Pelicans, their shooting guard, Josh Hart out of Villanova, would finish with 27 points and 9 rebounds in 32 minutes as Hart shot 10 for 16 from the field, 6 for 11 from 3, and he made his only free throw of the night. The leading scorer for the New Orleans Pelicans would be their elite starting power forward, Zion Williamson out of Duke, go Duke, as Williamson finished with 31 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 28 minutes as Williamson shot 13 for 16 from the field. He made his only three-pointer of the night, and he shot a perfect 4 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the New Orleans Pelicans are 12-15, which ties them with the Sacramento Kings for the 3rd worst record in the Western Conference, as both these teams trail the Utah Jazz sitting in first place by 10.5 games. And with this win, the New Orleans Pelicans are trailing the 8th place Warriors by 2.5 games in the Western Conference in the playoff picture. With this loss, the Memphis Grizzlies are 11-12 as they hold the 9th best record in the Western Conference as they sit 9.5 games behind the first place Utah Jazz overall. And they still sit a game ahead of the Pelicans following this win. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Bucks hosted the Toronto Raptors, and in this one, the Raptors would beat the Milwaukee Bucks 124-113 after outscoring Milwaukee by 11 in the second half. Because I guess they went in, they had very identical first and second quarters scoring wise. For the Milwaukee Bucks in this matchup off the bench, their shooting guard Pat Connaughton would finish with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 31 minutes as Connaughton shot 8 for 15 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3 as well. The leading scorer for the Milwaukee Bucks in the game, for that matter, would be their elite starting power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo out of Greece, who finished with 34 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, and 2 blocks, alongside 5 turnovers in 37 minutes. As Antetokounmpo would shoot 11 for 20 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 10 for 14 from the free throw line. For the currently Tampa Bay Raptors, their elite starting point guard Kyle Lowry would finish with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 22 minutes, as Lowry shot 7 for 22 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he made his only free throw of the night. Their elite starting power forward Pascal Siakam would finish with 23 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists in 39 minutes, as Siakam shot 8 for 23 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the line. And the leading scorer for the Toronto Raptors would be their starting shooting guard, Fred VanVleet, who finished with 33 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 39 minutes as he shot 12 for 22 from the field, 5 for 12 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the line. With this win, the Toronto Raptors are now 13-15, which ties them with the Charlotte Hornets for the 7th best record in the Eastern Conference. Within the playoff picture, they are half a game behind the 6th place New York Knicks. And both these teams are 1 game ahead of the 9th place Chicago Bulls on the outside looking in. And with this loss, the Milwaukee Bucks are sitting 3rd in the Eastern Conference at 16-12, 2 full games behind the 1st place Philadelphia 76ers. Jumping out to Minnesota, the Minnesota Timberwolves hosted the defending champions Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Lakers would end up beating the Timberwolves 112-104 after putting up a very impressive second half where they were just able to keep the Wolves at arm's length to get their 22nd win of the season. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, their leading scorer would be their number 1 overall pick from the most recent 2020 NBA draft, as their small forward Anthony Edwards out of Georgia would finish with 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, as well as 2 blocks in 34 minutes, as Edwards shot 10 for 20 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the line. Their elite starting center, Karl Anthony Towns, would finish with 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists in 33 minutes, as Towns shot 7 for 10 from the field, and he made his only three-pointer of the night. For the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers, their starting point guard, Dennis Schroeder out of Germany, would finish with 24 points alongside 5 turnovers in 32 minutes as Schroeder shot 9 for 15 from the field and 6 for 8 from the line. And the leading scorer for the Los Angeles Lakers, of course, would be their goated starting small forward, LeBron James, with Anthony Davis dealing with his Achilles strain. In this game, their small forward would finish with 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists, alongside 5 turnovers in 38 minutes as LeBron shot 13 for 20 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the Los Angeles Lakers are 22-7, which is the 2nd best record in the Western Conference. Looking at the playoff picture, they're a game and a half behind the 1st place Utah Jazz, and they sit 1 game ahead of their Staples Center roommates, the Los Angeles Clippers. And then with this loss, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 7-21. They have the worst record in the Western Conference as they trail the 1st place Utah Jazz by 16 games, and they trail the Lakers by 14.5. Looking out at Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City Thunder hosted the Portland Trailblazers. In this one, the Trailblazers would beat the Thunder 115-104 after outscoring the Thunder by 13 points in the first quarter and carrying that momentum through the game. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, their starting small forward, Luguentz Dort, would finish with 23 points and 6 rebounds in 37 minutes as Dort shot 8 for 18 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. For the Portland Trailblazers, their leading scorer would be their elite starting point guard, Damian Lillard, who finished with 31 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists, alongside 2 steals in 37 minutes as he shot 12 for 25 from the field, 5 for 14 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. I think there was another big kind of stat line here went to their starting center, Enes Kanter, who had finished with 8 points, 21 rebounds in 33 minutes as he shot 2 for 10 from the field. With this win, the Portland Trailblazers are 17-10. They have the 4th best record in the Western Conference, tied with the Phoenix Suns. Within the playoff picture, both these teams are sitting 3 games behind the third place Los Angeles Clippers, and they sit 1 game ahead of the 6th place San Antonio Spurs. Overall, the Portland Trail Blazers are trailing the first place Utah Jazz by 5.5 games. With this loss, the Oklahoma City Thunder are now 11-16, which ties them with the Houston Rockets for the second worst record in the conference. As overall, they sit 11.5 games behind the Utah Jazz, and they sit 3.5 games out of the playoff picture behind the 8th seed Golden State Warriors. And then last but not least, jumping out to Phoenix, the Phoenix Suns hosted the Brooklyn Nets. And after leading Brooklyn by at least 20 in the first half, the Brooklyn Nets were able to come back and beat the Phoenix Suns 128-124 after outscoring the Phoenix Suns by 9 in the third quarter and 16 in the fourth to combine for a 25-point deficit in the second half after trailing by 21 in the first half. James Harden would hit a lot of big shots along the way as he would have to. I mean, he had the team around him. The team was playing amazing, but James Harden was the. I mean, if you could give an MVP of the game to one player, you'd give it to James Harden. For the Phoenix Suns in this matchup, their elite starting shooting guard, Devin Booker, would finish with 22 points, 2 rebounds, and 7 assists in 36 minutes as Booker shot 9 for 20 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. And the leading scorer for the Phoenix Suns would be their elite starting point guard, Chris Paul, who finished with 29 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists in 35 minutes as Paul shot 12 for 20 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. For the Brooklyn Nets, their starting small forward, Joe Harris, would finish with 22 points in 31 minutes, shooting 8 for 13 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. And the leading scorer for the Brooklyn Nets, like I just said, would be their elite starting shooting guard, James Harden. With Kyrie and KD not playing, James Harden would finish with 38 points, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists in 37 minutes as he shot 14 for 22 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and a perfect 5 for 5 from the line. With this win, the Brooklyn Nets are currently 18-12, is the second best record in the Eastern Conference, as they have the same amount of wins as the Sixers, but they have 2 more losses. Looking in the playoff picture, so they are 1 full game behind the 76ers because they have 2 more losses and the same amount of wins, and they also sit 1 game ahead of the third place Brooklyn Nets, who have the same amount of losses, but the Nets have 2 more wins, so they are ahead of them by a game. And with this loss, the Phoenix Suns are now 17-10, which ties them with the Portland Trail Blazers for the 4th best record in the Western Conference, as both these teams trail the first place Utah Jazz by 5.5 games. And that was the NBA yesterday. Looking forward to what's going on today. Starting with the primetime matchups on ESPN at 7:30, the Philadelphia 76ers are going to host the Houston Rockets, as we have to see another game of Joel Embiid's quite possible MVP season. And following that, the Golden State Warriors are going to host the reigning Eastern Conference champions, the Miami Heat, on ESPN. Outside of those, there's a lot of basketball going on. At 7, the Magic are going to host the Knicks. At 7:30, the Celtics are going to host the Atlanta Hawks. At 8 o'clock, the Wizards are going to host the Nuggets, the Timberwolves are going to host the Pacers, and the Bulls are going to host the Pistons. And then at 9 o'clock, the Pelicans are going to host the Trailblazers, and the Grizzlies are going to host the Thunder. And last but not least, at 10 o'clock, the Los Angeles Clippers are going to host the Utah Jazz in a top 3 matchup in the Western Conference that very well could shake up how there's just could shake up what the Western Conference is looking like for this week. Jumping really quickly to college basketball, starting with the 5th-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. They were able to beat Northwestern 73-66 behind Kofi Cockburn's 17 points and 10 rebounds. With this win, 5th-ranked Illinois is 15-5 as they are 11-3 in the Big Ten. With this loss, unranked Northwestern is 6-13 as they are 3-12 in the Big Ten. Also, 20th-ranked Missouri went to Georgia to face off against the Bulldogs, and this time the Bulldogs were able to beat the Tigers 80-70 after outscoring Mizzou by 14 points in the second half, behind Justin Keir's 16 points and 5 rebounds. With this win, unranked Georgia is 13-8 as they are 6-8 in the SEC, and with this loss, 20th-ranked Mizzou is 13-6 as they are also 6-6, or as they are 6-6 in the SEC. Georgia's 6-8. Missouri's at 6-6. Forget the also. And then last but not least, 24th ranked Arkansas hosted unranked Florida and were able to beat the Gators 75-64 after outscoring Florida by 10 in the first half. Their forward Justin Smith would finish with 15 points and 6 rebounds. With this win, 24th ranked Arkansas is now 17-5 as they are 9-4 in the SEC. and unranked Florida is now 10-6 as they are 6-5 in the SEC. Looking forward to today's matchups through college basketball. 17th ranked USC is going to host unranked Arizona State on ESPN2 at 8 o'clock. Also at 8 o'clock, 22nd ranked Loyola Chicago is going to host unranked Valparaiso. Additionally, unranked Kansas State is going to host their in-state rivals, the 23rd ranked Kansas Jayhawks, at 8 o'clock in the Sunflower Showdown. And then at 9 o'clock, the 19th ranked Tennessee Volunteers are going to host the South Carolina Gamecocks on SEC Network. Staying within the arena, but taking it to the ice, looking at what's going on in the NHL so far this season, just going through the line because they're only allowed to play within their own division. The New York Islanders were able to beat the Buffalo Sabres 3-1. As their goalie was able to get 20 saves, the Islanders were able to get their 8th win of the season. With this win, the New York Islanders are second in the East, 3 points behind the Boston Bruins. Also, the Washington Capitals were able to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-1 after a scoreless first period. And Washington's right wing Panic would finish with 2 assists on the night to help them get their 7th win of the season. With this win, the Washington Capitals are currently sitting 4th in the East Division as they trail the first place Boston Bruins by 4 points. Jumping out to New York, the New Jersey Devils were able to beat the New York Rangers 5-2 as they went into the third quarter completely tied, and Kukanen, the center for New Jersey, would finish with 3 assists on the night to help the Devils get their 5th win of the season. With this win, the New Jersey Devils are currently sitting 6th in the East Division out of 8 possible teams. They have 12 points in the table. They are 10 points behind the first place Boston Bruins with this win, but a win there was important. The Colorado Avalanche were able to beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights 3-2 as they scored a goal in every single period to get their 8th win of the season. With this win, they are sitting 3rd in the West Division as they trail the Golden Knights, the team they just beat, by 4 points. And then jumping out to Los Angeles, the Kings were able to beat the Minnesota Wild 4-0. They were able to blank them. Johnny Quick, their goalie, with 28 saves as the Kings picked up their 5th win of the season. With this win, they are currently sitting 6th out of 8 in the West Division as they trail the first place Golden Knights by 8 points in the table. With that said, looking forward to the primetime matchups for today with hockey. At 7:30, the Detroit Red Wings are going to host the Chicago Blackhawks on NBC Sports Network. And then following that, the Edmonton Oilers are going to face off against the former Atlanta Thrashers, the Winnipeg Jets, as Connor McDavid's having an incredible season this year. But of course, I'll get to you with all of the NHL exhibition matchups once these games are finished, once we get to tomorrow. And last but not least, looking at what's going on the international stage with soccer, with all the seasons being halted, there was a lot of attention in the Champions League yesterday. There were 2 matchups because we're at the knockout stage, and we are and with the first day of Champions League, they start with the first legs of PSG, Barcelona, and Liverpool, Leipzig. And PSG was able to beat Barcelona 4-1 in Barcelona. The first goal would come from goated Argentinian forward Lionel Messi. He would score the 27th minute penalty kick to put Barcelona up by 1. And then for PSG, it would just be an onslaught from their elite French forward Kylian Mbappe, as Neymar was injured and Angel Di Maria did not play. Kylian Mbappe would score in the 32nd minute to tie it up at 1 going into halftime. And then going into the second half, Mbappe would score the second goal, Moise Kean the third, and then Kylian Mbappe the fourth to turn a 1-0 game into a 4-1 game immediately. And now the next game will be played in Paris. So it's not looking the future's not looking very bright for Barcelona at this stage. And then also RB Leipzig, the second best team in Germany, hosted Liverpool. And in this matchup, Liverpool would end up beating Leipzig off of a couple of goals scored by their elite wing duo of Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. Mo Salah would score in the 53rd minute as Mane would score in the 58th. And now going into Liverpool for the next matchup, they do lead this. They do currently lead this matchup on aggregates, but both these teams aren't going to play till mid-March. But it's still good to see what these teams are doing out here. And then looking forward to what's going on today with or outside or within the Champions League. FC Porto is going to host Juventus as Cristiano Ronaldo is going to get his chance to make his presence felt on the knockout stage level. And at the same time, Sevilla FC, one of the best teams in Spain, and I believe the team that won Europa League last year, they're going to host Borussia Dortmund. And Borussia Dortmund's having a lot of troubles. So this may be an opportunity for Sevilla to jump on Borussia Dortmund at this very time because they're not as formidable as they were for the first half of the season. Outside of that, looking at the Premier League, Everton's going to host Manchester City at 3:15, as these are two of the top four, or as Everton and Man City, two of the top seven teams, as Manchester City's number 1 and Everton's number 7. Everton currently trails Manchester City by 16 points, but a win here could very possibly tie them up with Liverpool in points. As right now they trail Liverpool by 3 points with 2 less games played, and they have played 2 less games than a lot of other teams in the Premier League. So this will be a very interesting chance for Everton to prove their point that they belong in Champions League, Europa League competition. And then looking out to La Liga, Levante is going to host the La Liga leaders currently, Atletico Madrid. Right now, Atletico Madrid sitting at the very top of the table as they are 5 points ahead of second place Real Madrid with 2 less games played, and Levante sitting 11. So this game should be a win for Atletico Madrid. But of course, I will get back to you with these games once they finish tomorrow. But with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 21 minutes of this piece. Today is Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, and I will get to all of you tomorrow with today's matchups for Thursday. I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.